guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today I have my August book haul for you, so stay tuned. So I have 26 books here to show you, so let's just get right into it. Okay, so the first book I have here is a book that was sent to me by one of you lovely people, and she's also an author, and I happened to see the trailer for this book on her YouTube channel, and I was like, oh my gosh, I want to read that book. And she sent it to me. And that is Earthly Divine by Tabby Newcomb, and this is the Unearthly series, book 1. And this says, a pure soul, a vengeful angel, and dangerous first love. 17-year-old Lexi Porter just wants to spend her senior year acing her exams, picking out her colleges, and working her part-time job without any added stress. And romance was definitely not a part of her carefully thought-out plans. But her life is about to get extremely complicated. First, her best friend hints that he'd like to be more than just friends. Then, after a freaky, ground-shaking incident, she meets a mysterious boy in the park. A boy she can't seem to forget. One that keeps showing up in her life at the oddest times. As Lexi sets out to discover who he is, she soon realizes that her life isn't what it seems. Neither is the swoon-worthy guy who's been stalking her. After a series of terrifying encounters, Cade Worthington finally reveals a shocking secret that rocks her world. Because she's no ordinary teenager. Lexi's soul is one of the purest to roam the earth, and the closer she gets to Cade, the more danger she seems to be in. Now, Lexi's caught in the middle of an ancient battle between heaven and hell, and when these two sides clash, Lexi must decide who to trust with her soul and even her heart. And I thought it sounded really good, and it gave me a little bit of Mortal Instruments vibes when reading the back of this, so I'm super excited for this book. The next two books I have here are books that came in subscription boxes. So the first one is Sanctuary by Carolyn Licks. And this came in my Totally Book Crate box. This says, Kinsey holds one truth above all. The company is everything. As a citizen of Omnistellar Concepts, the most powerful corporation in the solar system, Kinsey has trained her entire life for one goal. To become an elite guard on Sanctuary, Omnistellar's space prison for superpowered teens too dangerous for Earth. As a junior guard, she's excited to prove herself to her company, and that means sacrificing anything that won't propel her forward. But then a routine drill goes sideways, and Kinsey is taken hostage by rioting prisoners. At first, she's confident her commanding officer, who also happens to be her mother, will stop at nothing to secure her freedom. Yet it soon becomes clear that her mother is more concerned with sticking to Omnistellar protocol than she is with getting Kinsey out safely. As Kinsey forms her own plan to escape, she doesn't realize there's a more sinister threat looming, something ancient and evil that has clawed its way into Sanctuary from the vacuum of space, and Kinsey might have to team up with her captors to survive, all while beginning to suspect that there's a darker side to the Omnistellar she knows. Woo. So, space adventure. So this next book came from my bookie box, and that is 9 by Zach Hines. And this says, in an alternate world, startlingly close to our own, humans have 9 lives, and they can't wait to burn straight through them. As you shed lives, you shed your awkward phases. One burn is equal to one physical and mental upgrade. Not only is burning a thrill, but when you wake up, you've taken one step closer to the person you dream of becoming. Julian's friends are obsessed with the idea of burning lives, but Julian is determined to stay on his first for as long as he can. His mother, the ultimate cautionary tale, burned through her first 8 in just a few years, and Julian has no intention of succumbing to the debilitating rebirth sickness that she inflicted on herself. But the regimen has incentives aimed at controlling overpopulation, and Julian realizes that he's going to have to burn at some point, especially when he becomes a target for Nicholas, the manipulative leader of the burners. Julian eventually succumbs to the pressure, but in doing so, he uncovers suspicious gaps in the rebirth system that may explain exactly why his mother went so far down the rabbit hole years ago. Along with a group of student dissenters, Julian sets out to find answers and is soon on the verge of exposing the greatest conspiracy ever unleashed on the world. Dun dun dun! That sounds very interesting. Okay, then these next 11 books are books that I ordered off of Amazon. So the first one is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. And if you don't know what this is about, I don't know where you've been, because it's all over BookTube. This is a series. This is the first book in the series. It is now a movie on Netflix. But it's about this girl who, anytime she has this great crush, she writes a letter to them telling everything she's feeling and all of that. And then she puts the letter away and it's never meant to be sent. But then one day, somehow all of her letters that she's written get delivered. And then she's got to deal with what comes after that. And this book sounds super cute, and I know there's a lot of baking and sweets involved. And I actually think I've convinced Becca to read this. And I told her she could read it and then I'll read it and we can bake all the goodies that are in the back of it, because there's a bunch of recipes in the back, and then we can watch the movie together on Netflix. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. So following the theme of reading a book and then watching a movie, the next book I bought from Amazon was The House with a Clock in Its Walls by Jon Huckeby. And this is just a little short, I think it's a middle grade book that I wanted to read with Xander before the movie comes out, and it comes out September 21st, I believe. So this says, Tick-tock, a murderous clock. When Louis Barnevelt, an orphan, comes to stay with his uncle Jonathan, he expects to meet an ordinary person, but he is wrong. Uncle Jonathan and his next-door neighbor, Mrs. Zimmerman, are both witches. Louis is thrilled. At first, watching magic is enough. Then, Louis experiments with magic himself and unknowingly resurrects the former owner of the house, a woman named Serena Izard. It seems that Serena and her husband built a timepiece into the walls, a clock that could obliterate humankind, and only the Barnevelts can stop it. And I saw the preview for this movie and it looks really good. And the uncle, Jonathan, is played by Jack Black. So I like Jack Black. I think he's hilarious. And so I wanted to read this before that movie came out. Okay, next up we have Buffy the Vampire Slayer Omnibus Season 8, Volume 1 and Volume 2. And, oh gosh, these things are heavy. They gotta be a good 10 pounds each. Anyway, these are the graphic novels. It actually continues on past where the TV show ended, because the TV show ended at season 7 and they continued on with the story after that. And I just fairly recently learned that. I had no idea that it continued past the end of the show. But this just looks amazing and I cannot wait to read it. It's going to be so good. And continuing with the Buffy trend, I got the Spike Omnibus. And this says, wisecracking and showboating William the Bloody has had his share of adventures during his long undead life, and the Spike Omnibus pulls them all together. Learn more about the bad boy of the Buffyverse in Spike's earliest stories, like Lost and Found, Old Wounds, and Old Times. Then read along as Spike battles the Lord of the Undead in Spike vs. Dracula. And finally catch up with Spike as he heads to the asylum on a work-for-hire mission before heading to Japan to stop maniacal puppets in Shadow Puppets. It's more Spike than you can shake a sharp wooden stake at. And this is also a graphic novel, which I cannot wait to get into. Yes. And I found another one by another author, and that is the complete series Spike. And I think this actually picks up after Angel. It says, Spike is out on his own, away from Angel's watchful eye and in charge of his own destiny. Old flames and new challenges arise as Spike faces a crazed killer, Wolfram in heart, and the consequences of having a soul. And this looks like so. So that's all of the Buffy. Now on to the other things that I got from Amazon. I got Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli, as well as The Upside of Unrequited and Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. And I watched this movie, like I think most people watch this movie, and absolutely loved it. And I hadn't read the book. Normally I would read the book first, but I wasn't really sure if I was interested. But then I watched the movie and I fell in love with it. So I wanted to get this book and read it, as well as her others. And she is going to be at this book festival that I'm going to, and I wanted to get her to sign all these for me. So if you don't know, Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda is pretty much about a boy named Simon and him coming out as gay and also trying to find love, and it's super cute, super sweet, and I loved the whole aspect with his parents. It was just, oh, his dad, oh my gosh, his dad had me boo-hooing in the movies for reals. And from what I understand about Leah on the Offbeat, it is about a bisexual girl that is best friends with Simon, and she's come out to her mother, but she has to find the courage to come out to her friends. And then as far as The Upside of Unrequited, when I purchased it, I actually had no idea what it was about. I thought it was part of this Simon universe, but I had no idea. I just bought it because I wanted all of her books to read at once. So I'll read what it's about now. So we have 26 Crushes, 0 Kisses. 17-year-old Molly Peskin Suso knows all about unrequited love. She's lived through it 26 times. She crushes hard and crushes often, but always in secret. Because no matter how many times her twin sister Cassie tells her to woman up, Molly can't stomach the idea of rejection, so she's careful. Fat girls always have to be careful. Then a cute new girl enters Cassie's orbit, and for the first time ever, Molly's cynical twin is a love-struck mess. Meanwhile, Molly's totally not dying of loneliness, except for the part where she is. Luckily, Cassie's new girlfriend comes with a cute hipster boy sidekick. Will is funny and flirtatious and just might be perfect crush material. Maybe more than crush material. And if Molly can win him over, she'll get her first kiss and she'll get her twin back. There's only one problem. Molly's coworker, Reed. He's an awkward Tolkien superfan with a season pass to the Ren Fair, and there's absolutely no way Molly could fall for him, right? Oh, this sounds super cute. So, I don't know if they're characters that are also in these books because I haven't read any of them yet, but I'm totally into this. Okay, next up I got Giant Days Volume 2, which is another graphic novel. And this follows 3 college roommates who are like freshmen in college, and they're just getting started and kind of figuring out their way and dealing with all of the things that comes with really being on your own for the first time and being at college. And I really enjoyed the first one, so I wanted to continue with the series. Okay, the last book that I got from Amazon was actually a book for Xander, and that is The Golden Sandal, a Middle Eastern Cinderella story by Rebecca Hickox. And I got this along with 2 other Cinderella stories that I'll show you now from thrift books. And that is The Rough-Faced Girl and Yexin, a Cinderella story from China. Oh, and this is by Rafi Martin and David Shannon. And this one is retold by Aling Louie and illustrated by Ed Young. And these are all Cinderella stories from different cultures. So we have Middle Eastern, we have Native American, and we have Chinese. And he's going to do a lesson where you have the same story pretty much, but retold in different cultures and how culture affects literature. Sorry if there was an angle change, but my battery died. Okay, back to this. So the next book I got from Thrift Books was another book for Xander, and that is Platero and I by Juan Ramon Jimenez. And this is a lyrical portrait of life and the little donkey Platero in a remote Andalusian village. It is the masterpiece of Juan Ramon Jimenez, the Spanish poet awarded the 1956 Nobel Prize for Literature. Okay, so next is another book from Thrift Books, and that is The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgkin Burnett. And because this doesn't have a jacket or anything, I pulled up Goodreads so that I could tell you about it. The plot centers around Mary Lennox, a young English girl who returns to England from India, having suffered the immense trauma by losing both her parents in a cholera epidemic. However, her memories of her parents are not pleasant, as they were a selfish, neglectful, and pleasure-seeking couple. Mary is given to the care of her uncle Archibald Craven, whom she has never met. She travels to his home, Misselthwaite Manor, located in the gloomy Yorkshire, a vast change from the sunny and warm climate she was used to. When she arrives, she is rude, stubborn, and given to stormy temper tantrums. However, her nature undergoes a gradual transformation when she learns of the tragedies that have befallen her strict and disciplinarian uncle, whom she earlier feared and despised. Once, when he's away from home, Mary discovers a charming walled garden, which is always kept locked. The mystery deepens when she hears sounds of sobbing from somewhere within her uncle's vast mansion. The kindly servants ignore her queries or pretend they haven't heard, spiking Mary's curiosity. And I also know this is a movie, and Xander's going to be reading this for school. Okay, and then the last book that I got for Xander from Thrift Books is Marie Curie and the Discoverer of Radium by Anne E. Steinck? And well, this is about Marie Curie and when she discovered radium. And so he's reading this for school as well. So I think those are the last of the Xander books. Okay, so the next three books that I have here also came from Thrift Books. I have Whatever Happened to Janie by Carolyn B. Cooney. Also, The Voice on the Radio. And What Janie Found. And these are books 2, 3, and 4 in the Janie Johnson series. And I read book 1 called Face on the Milk Carton not that long ago. And I absolutely loved it. And I flew through it because also they're super short books. And I immediately, as soon as I finished that book, wanted to go and get the rest of them. So, The Face on the Milk Carton is about this girl named Janie who, at lunch one day at school, happens to see this missing girl on a milk carton, and immediately she is just stunned and shocked and doesn't know what to think because that girl is her. And it kind of follows her trying to figure out what to do because she's like, she loves her family and she's having a hard time imagining them being kidnappers, and she doesn't want it to be true, and she's also curious about the family that she apparently has come from, and it's just really, really interesting, and I loved it, and I cannot wait to read these as well. Okay, next up is Maid of Secrets by Jennifer McGowan. And this is the first book in the Maid of Honors series. And this says, if God won't save the queen, they will. Orphan Meg Fellows makes her living picking pockets until she steals from the wrong nobleman. Instead of rotting in prison like she expects, she's whisked away to the court of Queen Elizabeth and pressed into royal service as a spy. With a fake noble identity, Meg joins 4 other remarkable girls in the Maids of Honor, the Queen's secret society of protectors. Meg's natural talent for spying proves useful in this time of unrest. The Spanish court is visiting, and with it comes devious plots and hidden political motives. As threats to the kingdom begin to mount, Meg can't deny her growing attraction to one of the dashing Spanish courtiers. But it's hard to trust her heart in a place where royal formalities and masked balls hide the truth. Meg's mission tests every talent she possesses, even her loyalty to her fellow maids. With danger lurking around every corner, can she stay alive and protect the crown? And I actually already have books 2 and 3 as well. Okay, so the next 3 books I have here came from McKay's, which you may have seen one of my Come With Me to McKay's videos, and it's just this really amazing, huge used bookstore that I love so much, and it's so much fun to spend time in. But you can also get really super cheap books. Like these next 3 books, I think I spent $2.75 for all 3 of them. Okay, so the first one I have is The Three Sisters, which is the first book in the Krampus Chronicles by Sonia Halbach. And this says, 14-year-old Maggie Ogden thinks she knows everything there is to grandfather Clement Clark Moore and his legendary poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." But all this changes Christmas Eve, 1854, when Chelsea Manor receives an unexpected visitor, Henry Livingston, who's searching for evidence to prove that his grandfather, Major Henry, is the true author of the famous holiday poem. The night takes a strange turn when Maggie and Henry come across another intruder in Chelsea Manor. After following the peculiar boy down a secret opening within the fireplace and through an underground tunnel full of mechanical sleighs, Maggie and Henry discover Popple, a hidden village under New York City. Faced with the deadly challenges presented by the legend of the Three Sisters, Maggie and Henry are forced to play by Popple's rules and those who run the cursed village. And they quickly learn that not only is leaving Popple harder than arriving, but there are even more dangerous lies and mysterious truths to Clement Clark Moore, Christmas, and a menacing creature called Krampus than anyone could have known. Okay, so these last 2 books are actually part of a series. I have the first book and the 10th book in this series. When I bought these, I thought they were standalone books, not part of a series. And it was once I got them home, I realized that it is part of a series. And it is the Women's Murder Club. So I have book 1, which is First to Die, and book 10, which is 10th Anniversary by James Patterson. And all of the books in this series have numbers in them, like First to Die, Second Chance, things like that. So I'm not going to tell you about this one since it is the 10th book in the series, but I will read you about this one. First to Die is a dazzling, powerful new thriller by master suspense novelist James Patterson, the #1 best-selling author of Kiss the Girls and Along Came a Spider. 4 women, 4 friends, share a determination to stop a killer who has been stalking newlyweds in San Francisco. Each one holds a piece of the puzzle. Lindsay Boxer is a homicide inspector in the San Francisco Police Department. Claire Washburn is a medical examiner. Jill Bernhardt is an assistant DA. And Cindy Thomas just started working the crime desk of the San Francisco Chronicle. But the usual procedures aren't bringing them any closer to stopping the killings. So these women form a women's murder club to collaborate outside the box and pursue the case by sidestepping their bosses and giving one another a hand. The 4 women develop intense bonds as they pursue a murderer whose crimes have stunned an entire city. Working together, they track down the most terrifying and unexpected killer they have ever encountered, before a shocking conclusion in which everything they know turns out to be devastatingly wrong. Full of the breathtaking drama and unforgettable emotions for which James Patterson is famous, First to Die is the start of a blazingly fast-paced and sensationally entertaining new series of crime thrillers. And I like a good crime thriller every now and then. Not too often, but when I saw this, it sounded really good, and so did the other one. And that one was $1, this one was 75 cents, so oh, don't fall. Okay guys, well that is my entire August book haul. Have you read any of these? Did you like them? Did you not? Comment down below and let me know. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you.